on February 23rd, 2026 in Holyoke, Massachusetts. This meeting is being recorded and pursuant to Massachusetts Open Meeting Law GLC 330A, SS 8 Senate 1825, and Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, notice is hereby given of a meeting of the committee. Live Spanish interpretation will be available on Local Access Channel 15 using the television's SAP option. I'd like to introduce the members of the committee. The vice chair is Michael Sullivan. Member Israel Rivera. Member Mimi Panich. Member Nicole Bassinet. And Member Richard Purcell. I'm the chair. I think we got all five, didn't we?
We did.
Good.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to take up item number 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just got one more reading to do for y'all. Sorry. It's kind of a disclaimer. So I'll make a motion to take a roll call vote that for the purposes of this meeting would be applicable to all motions, and to remove an item off the table, place items on the table, package items, open or close a public hearing, or suspend the rules unless there is an objection.
So moved.
Second.
And I heard a motion to accept and seconded to take the agenda off the minutes of the last meeting off the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any corrections that need to be made to the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll entertain another motion for item number 2 on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Item number 2, to read it into the record, is a public hearing, special permit for a driveway in a front yard application of Cindy L. Eli to add a driveway parking pad at 17 Myrtle Avenue, Holyoke, Massachusetts. And this was a continuation from January 26, 2026. So I'll entertain a motion.
I think we already moved to take it, didn't we?
Open the public meeting.
Yeah.
So are we good?
Of course, yes. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is the applicant Cindy Eli available?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Did you get the required stuff that you needed to get the permit?
So what I did was I redrew the design. I worked with Matthew Sokup, and we came up with a design that fits all of the guidance for zoning and for the amount of green space I'll still have in the front yard. There's a 5-foot setback from the property line to where there's a current walkway, and then the driveway would be on the other side. The lot itself is 36 feet wide, and the driveway and the walkway would take up 11 feet, which would leave 25 feet of green space, which is well over the 50% recommendation. Matthew seemed to think that it met all the criteria at that point. And I believe you may have received a copy of my drawing. Wasn't the best drawing, but
I did, and it was a lot better than I could have done.
oh, well, thank you.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, Councilor Rivera has his hand up.
I'm
You
sorry.
might want to tap your participants button at the bottom so that you can see the list on the right side.
I
That way you
apologize.
don't miss the hands.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Councilor Rivera, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Just wanted to see if we had any communication from Mr. Sokup directly. And thank you, Miss Ellie or Eli, however we pronounce it. I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
It's actually Ely.
Oh, perfect, Ely. Thank you for coming to the meeting and advocating for yourself and for the parking space. It sounds like everything is okay, according to what you're saying. But if there's a communication from Mr. Sokup, that would actually like help out 110%. But based on what you're saying, I'm ready to rule in favor of agreeing with this. I would just say that it would probably make sense if we had some communication from the city's end too as well. But that's just my
So
point.
Jeffrey was copied on all of the emails that I had with Matthew Sokup.
And I did circulate that to the two counselors on Thursday. There was an attachment showing the email from Mr. Sokop.
So real quick for clarification, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, of course.
So the email communication between Miss Ely, or Ely, I hope I said it correctly,
Ely, yes.
and Mr. Sokop, that is what we were supposed to base today's decision off of? I guess this would be to our administrative assistant through the chair.
Jeffrey?
Yeah, my understanding from the last meeting is that the committee was looking for Mr. Sokop to confirm that the new drawing was what he was looking for. And that email indicated he was good with that. But I'll leave it to the committee to.
Ely. Okay, so then thank you for that, Jeff. I wasn't aware just that that email communication would suffice. Thank you though.
Councilor Panich has her hand up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to confirm that it is a very brief note from our city engineer, but we do have it in our packet, and he does say that based on what he's looking at, he believes that the dimensional requirements have been satisfied.
Thank you.
And given the way, I mean, this is a special permit and a public hearing, so I believe, deferring obviously to questions from Councilor Devine, whose hand is also up, our next move would be to close the public hearing and then deliberate.
I was happy to do that, and I see Councilor Devine's hand up. Councilor Devine, do you have a comment?
Yes, thank you very much. My only question is, has everybody, surrounding this area been notified, and is anybody speaking in favor or speaking against, like the normal situation would be? Thank you.
Yes, I send notices out and have the city clerks send out abutter letters every time.
Are there any abutters on this Zoom meeting to have any comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll entertain another motion.
Motion to approve the city engineer's recommendation within the design of the outlay or the layout of the parking space that was requested by Miss Cindy Ely.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Jeffrey, do I have to do a roll call?
Yes, you do.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Sullivan,
Yes.
Counselor Panich,
Yes.
Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Counselor Massonet,
Yes.
and Counselor Purcell says yes. Miss Ely,
Yes.
we'll bring this up at our next city council meeting, approving the permit.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you for coming and thank you for all the hard work you did to get this taken care of.
Thank you.
Be safe in the snow.
All of you too.
Thank you. I'll entertain another motion.
Motion to take up item number 3.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll entertain another motion about, so this, item number 3 is a permit application for a home occupation of Mustafa IBIC at 60 Westfield Road for a custom tailor shop per 4.82.2. Public hearing will not take place due to a newspaper notice requirement was not completed.
Okay.
It-
Motion to table?
There's a motion to table.
Sorry, if I may jump in here, I think that because this is a public hearing, we need to open it for the purpose of continuing and then continue to a date certain.
Mr. Chair, you're unable to open the public hearing because the newspaper notice was not published.
That was my understanding also, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Thank you. I withdraw the procedural comment.
I heard a motion.
Second, the motion to table.
There's a second to table?
Hang on, Patty has her hand up.
I'm sorry, Patty. I'm sorry about that,
That's,
Patty.
that's okay, no problem. Thank you. I just want to make sure that when this comes around again, that there's certain obligations that the applicant has to do, like the signage has to be very, very careful. We've always felt that if you have a special permit, it doesn't look like there's actually a business in that home. And this particular home was looking like a business. So I think that they've corrected that. So I'll be looking for that at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Panich. Counselor Panich, you have your hand up still?
No, I'm attempting to lower it.
Jeffrey, you have your hand up?
Yes, I just because of the less common situation here, I might recommend just speaking with the city attorney on what to do with this because the applicant ignored the outreach to them to make sure that they were paying the newspaper for it. So I'm unsure how this proceeds, to be honest.
I'll make a motion that we hear from the city solicitor on this matter.
Does that need a second? If so, second.
Second.
Solicitor Bissonette, are you available for us?
Evening, everybody. This is on tabling the item, and that would be my suggested course of action. You've already debated whether or not a public hearing needs to be opened. It's not. I think I want to bend on the side of courtesy to the petitioner, but we are extremely concerned that despite Jeffrey's best efforts, I'm not sure if there's some difficulty in understanding or if there's just a lack of respect for the process or just some inability to comply. I would certainly suggest that, well, we don't have to pick a date. I would imagine that having a date to continue it on the agenda under the requirement that this gentleman complete his requirements of public notification. And then if he doesn't, then of course you're entitled to dismiss it. entirely up to the committee as to whether or not you want to provide that second bite at the apple, but certainly is within your purview. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Attorney Bissonnette. There was a motion made to a table the end, and was there a second?
There was second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I think Israel,
I'm sorry, Israel. Sorry, Izzy. I keep missing that. Sorry. You may speak, Izzy.
Yeah, no worries. Before we move, I would like to amend that motion, right? And the amendment would be still be tabling it, but tabling it and giving the person 30 days for it to come back on the agenda, or maybe 60 days, whatever the body's in agreement with. And if they have not followed through with the request, that it be given leave to withdraw. Then I'm all about giving second chances because I'm a second chance guy for myself anyways, personally. But if you're not going to go through the process to actually follow the steps that need to be done for the stuff that you want, the onus kind of eventually falls on you to be able to get your stuff done too. So my amendment is to still table it, but give it 30 days for it to come back on the agenda, giving them time to be able to follow through with the press, putting the report in the newspaper. And that's my motion.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and it's been seconded to put the item on the table and give the applicant, do we decide on 30 or 60 days notice? We'll give them 30 days to apply for the next meeting. How's that?
Well, that was my motion, was the 30 days. So if someone wants to change it, then we'd have to make an amendment to change it to a different date. So, I mean,
I agree. I agree.
yes.
I'm sorry.
I would just ask our administrative assistant, Jeff, if 30 days would be a good date if it's available, like if it's a date that's available for DGR. Like, I don't want to set it up for a trap either. And I'm sorry for the background noise.
There is the next DGR meeting is scheduled for a month from today. I guess I'm a little unsure. This was filed on the 20th of January. So special permits have a statutory requirement. I'm just unsure how this plays out with that. As far as the timeline for holding a public hearing.
Okay. I'm okay with leave to withdraw. I'd be willing to give somebody a second chance, but if it's not,
I'm not making that suggestion. I just want to know what the legal, how this is handled legally with the state law requirements on how public hearings are opened.
I'll accept a motion to ask the city solicitor to come back and answer that question, please.
second.
Attorney
We're still
Bissonnette.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're still under the same time constraints, but this time the burden is not on the city. The burden is on the petitioner because it is his failure to comply with the statutory requirements under 40A to even seek the remedy he seeks. So basically, there's no ability for this petitioner to come back and say the city did not do its proper procedure in his case. So I think we're okay if we continue it, but I would, as Jeffrey has suggested, I would not want to go too far, and perhaps even consider if there's time. I don't know what the schedule is, but sometime before the month goes by, bring that back up on another agenda. And Jeffrey, I'm sure, will be in contact. And that way you don't have it hanging out there. He either complies or he doesn't. A fairly simple timeline for him. And if it's within a couple of weeks, it's back on the agenda. he doesn't comply, I think then it can go away, make him refile if he wants the council to consider it again. But I think to do anything else tonight might be too punitive. And I'd rather run the risk of erring on the side of caution here.
So I have a question for you. Is it, so we're giving him 2 weeks notice, and if he doesn't answer us in 2 weeks, then that's it? We bring it up at the next meeting and he didn't comply?
You deny it.
Thank you. Any other questions for Attorney Bissonnette? I don't see any hands.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I withdraw my motion for 30 days, and then I'll make another motion to make it a 2-week. I don't. The thing is that are we having another meeting in 2 weeks?
The will of the body.
No. All right. So yeah, I guess Councilor Panich has her hands up, but my motion would be then to continue it for 2 weeks. Then, if that would be it.
Councilor Panich?
Yeah, I'm just making sure that I understand what's being proposed and that we're all on the same page here. What I thought I heard Attorney Bissonnette say was we put this on the next agenda, which we all know is actually 4 weeks from now, right? But we asked Jeffrey to reach out to him, and if he hasn't responded and corrected the situation, or at least indicated that he will, within 2 weeks or so, then we just assume we're dismissing it at the next meeting. Is that correct?
That's what I understood.
Okay, I see Attorney Bissonnette nodding, so I think we're all on the same page here, right?
Yep.
Just to be clear for everybody, I want to give that time period so that the committee doesn't get caught in this situation again. So that you have verification prior to your meeting that the ad has been placed and has been paid for. And then it can go forward on that night.
Yeah, and we're giving him plenty of time to respond, so we will have nothing to be ashamed of if he doesn't come through.
So then I withdraw all my motions and we go back to Councilor Sullivan's motion, where it's just tabling it.
So there's been a motion to table
It's already been
to the next meeting, giving the applicant 2 extra weeks to do his due diligence. All those in favor?
It's just a simple motion to table.
Yeah,
just a motion to table.
So we have a motion to table. All those in favor?
aye.
Item number 3 has been tabled till the next meeting. I don't have to do a roll call for that, do I, Jeff?
You do not.
Thank you.
Motion to take up item number 4.
Second.
Second.
I'm gonna read item 4 into the meeting. Order that this is on item 4 from Councilor Sullivan. Order that the City Council invite the Board of Health to a DGR meeting to discuss the vacant building fees and get an update. Is the Board of Health here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
I'm on a phone. This is different for me.
I know it's different for all of us. I asked how many times this has happened, and they said this is the second time that they know of.
Oh, really? Yeah.
For a subcommittee meeting. They did a lot during COVID, but for a subcommittee meeting, this is the second time.
Yeah. So as far as the vacant building registry goes, the council voted to increase the fees in February. We revamped our registry forms. We sent them out with a letter telling everybody that the fees have been increased, the date that they were approved on. We sent them out by ordinance 10/15, October 15th. They have to November to respond with the fees increasing. I found we received a lot more maintenance plans than usual because the the maintenance plans are so that they maintain their property. It gives a 50% deduction. We are trying to also push that so people that do have those properties are maintaining them, and it doesn't end up being something that the city has to deal with, whether it be through enforcement or hiring a contractor. So in that process, we have our appeal hearings in January. With that includes the building commissioner and the assistant city solicitor. We had those. At that point, we either make a decision to determine vacancy, or the building commissioner continues to work on a rehab plan. They can submit a rehab plan to defer the fee for a year. That gets approved. Usually by April, that's when we'll start sending out the liens on the properties. So we won't have a full number on how much the increases have affected the city, like bring the revenue that's coming into the city until the year's over. Obviously, it should be significant, but it doesn't just come in all at once. If people don't pay, we lien it. So that's kind of the process on how it goes. This is my second year doing it. Definitely have some good opportunities, I think, to make it better. During this last cycle, we had a lot of the residential properties, people that moved into town that weren't aware of the vacant building ordinance. We ended up saying for next year we would check the utilities on residentials because they turn over quicker than your commercial properties. The city itself is working on a data integration, trying to get some of the information on the properties working together through departments. So that would be significant because right now our vacant building amount is coming down. I believe it's about 120, but there's a big difference, especially with a house, if you are able to catch a vacant property before it's been vacant for years, because then it becomes dilapidated. So if we can get that working through our systems quicker, then we can start enforcement action on a property quicker. So if we're able to, if that does come to fruition, then that will be significant to having us enforce on properties or force a property owner to maintain their property better. Some other things, having internal policies. This is an inherited list. So we're talking recently about maybe reviewing our list on some of the residential properties, and if they've been vacant for, if they've been on the list for a long period of time, like a significant number, like greater than, then we should do a sanitary code inspection on them rather than just ordinance, rather than just making sure, there's not trash and litter. Why don't we check out, some of the, is there any broken windows? Is there any thing like that? So we are working on getting that in place. Like an internal policy. Some of the other things, after a discussion I had with Councilor Sullivan, we do have the 50% reduction, and I was kind of brainstorming on that because we're giving a deduction for people that consistently have the property vacant for a long period of time. So I was thinking possibly maybe I'm already reviewing some ordinance ideas that I want to put through, like routine maintenance, but maybe we can remove that maintenance plan for anybody who doesn't have a rehab plan while I get some other ideas together for to review with ordinance. I haven't submitted a full thing yet, but I'm working on ideas. So it's a great ordinance. I think we can do better with it. And I think capturing properties is another area that we can do better with. And we're working on it. I did put a lot of the frequently asked questions. I did update our website. So there's a large page of why it's important to report vacant properties, the process of how we work with it. Let me just look if I missed anything. And that is what I have for you for now. Unless there's, for any questions.
I should have told the public who you were. You're Timothy Rivers from the Board of Health.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry I didn't introduce you. Are there any questions? I have Israel Rivera's hand up.
Yeah. Rich, before, Israel, you mind if I jump in ahead of you here
Go ahead, Mike.
with the chair's permission?
Absolutely. As long as it's
So a couple of things I want to clear up here. Number one, the intention of this order, when we passed this increase, it did not affect residential properties, and there was no change in the fees or anything for residential properties. This was, and I thought we had clarified that back when we did the ordinance change. So I just want to make sure everybody in the public is aware. The intention of this order was to call attention to some of the larger properties, particularly commercial properties, is where I want the focus of us to stay. All right. And the comments I would have is the maintenance plans that some of them have submitted on commercial properties, right? There's no mechanism within the city right now for following up to see if those maintenance plans are being adhered to, number one. And I like what Tim said about tying those together with the rehab plan, okay? Because by simply submitting a rehab plan and then taking no action at all whatsoever, some of these property owners are getting the fee deferred, all right? So this is a big problem, and it shouldn't fall just on the shoulders of the Board of Health and Tim Rivers. This is something where the action needs to be taken through multiple departments, through OPED, right, through the building department, and everyone working together on this, because the damage being done by these property owners and the vacancy of these properties to the city is really immeasurable. We all know, because we hear about it all the time consistently from all our constituents around Kmart Plaza. And if you use this just as the one example, we have dozens and dozens of other vacant properties like this. They're hurting us tax-wise, they're hurting us employment-wise, they're contributing to blight in the city, and we need to get a holistic approach to going after these property owners and getting them either utilized or back on the market, or making it very difficult for them financially to continue doing what they're doing right now to the city. So I know I said a lot there, but I hope it makes clear what the intent of this is. And the last thing I'll say in closing here is, yeah, what Tim's working with here is an inherited list. We need to get this list updated as well. There's many new ones have come on, buildings that were completely rehabbed, $7-8 million spent, and now they're sitting vacant and empty, and nothing going on. Yet they paid. We have increased it, but they were paying $3,000 a year after an $8 million development and bringing nothing to the city. Thank you.
I see Israel Rivera's hand.
Yes, thank you. Councilor Sullivan kind of pointed on some of what I was going to touch on regarding the original intent of the order. But I think where it's news to me is the part around the plans or the what do you saw? How do you describe it? The leniency or the, like, if they create a maintenance plan that they're able to get a 50% reduction. For me, that kind of sounds counterproductive of what the order originally was about. Like, we're not coming after residential properties. We're not coming after like the small guy. And then we're not trying to come after anybody. We're just trying to hold people accountable, mostly the people that have the larger buildings that can afford to pay the fine, right? And just say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to continue to leave my building empty. That's the one thing for me. Like I'm surprised to hear that part. But then the other second part to me is, do we have at least a number of like what it would be if we did collect everyone that we find throughout the year? You know what I'm saying? Like a master number of what it would be without the discounts or whatever it is.
I can get that too. I don't have that on me, no, but I can get that too.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. And that's it.
Yeah, also, can I just something I wanted to mention too is I do have some ideas with the ordinance for some additions of, abandoned parcel and routine maintenance. Maybe a suggestion I should make, because the maintenance plan has always been in the ordinance from as far as I know. I think when they started the ordinance. So maybe what can be done is I'll submit some of the items that I'm thinking to ordinance committee, and also ask to have the maintenance plan removed for commercial properties.
Thank you for that. Any recommendation? I didn't catch that part when we were writing the policy on that piece, because it kind of, Mike. Councilor Sullivan's intention was literally like it's true what he's saying. Where we do have some buildings that are dilapidated over the years, but then there are some that got invested in and now they're just sitting there empty. And if this is the only mechanism the council has and the city in general has to be able to get people moving forward, not that I want to say like, hey, we're going to be the mean guys in town and come after you and not give you no breaks, but like the intent, like if it's a new property owner that just bought that property, then there's ways to work around and have the conversation. But if somebody's had this property for 6-7 years and it's been empty all that time and they could just pay the fees. But yeah, now I'm on a tangent. My apologies. But yeah, thank you for that, Tim.
Yeah, I can do that, because I already have some things in the works. And that does make sense. If you have a large place and they're getting a 50% reduction, it takes away the blight that they're causing in the city and the development. It makes it more affordable to not to, develop it. And that was the whole purpose of raising the fees as well. So that's something I will put in when I have everything drafted up.
Thank you, Tim. I see Councilor Panich's hand up, and then Councilor Sullivan after.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that Mr. Rivers just gave me part of the answer to one of my questions, but it sounds to me as though this is an issue with two parts. Councilor Sullivan is looking for information, which we obviously need to have updated. But also it sounds as though this is a problem where we really need to look at what our toolkit is for addressing what's going on, and not merely collecting information, but start thinking about how we can fix this problem. And I hear that, Mr. Rivers has some ideas, and I was just basically asking about next steps, how we put this together and start thinking about what mechanisms can we add to our ordinances that would get to the root of this. And with that, I'll refer to Councilor Sullivan.
Councilor Sullivan, your hand's up. Thank you, Councilor Panich.
Okay. Thanks. Question for Tim Rivers again. Tim, were you able to follow up on 111 Mosier Street?
The only thing I was able to get with I couldn't get into it much, but on our spreadsheet from last year, they had a deferral and then it says not vacant. That's all. That's the only notes on the spreadsheet piece. I don't have like the file in front of me. So that's why it wasn't on this specific one. And so I don't have the follow-up information on that.
Okay, so, and once again, I just want to stress this is no reflection on Mr. Rivers nor the Board of Health. It's why the city has to start acting holistically to attack this problem. How, and this is a list
Yeah.
that has been inherited, right? How did they ever get, my question is, and that's not to you, Tim, this is a in general question that we have to be asking. How did they ever get left off the list? That building has been vacant now for several years. All right. Yeah, it's on the market. It's on the market for $10.4 million. A building that was assessed at 1.7. All right. This kind of stuff, it's so detrimental to the city, right? And for them to not be on the list. And this is why I feel we really need to move aggressively to find out why they aren't on the list, why many others may not be on the list as well, and to really get after these property owners to do something or move on. Thank you.
And one good thing too is if everything pans out with that data integration is your utility companies. One of the definitions of vacancy in the vacant building ordinance is lack of utilities. So, and that's probably the number one way we would find it. We would just call the electric company, but it would be good if you know, over 1 month of no utility usage, if it like kicked out to us a list or something like that, that we could start sending out the registry to those properties. So yeah, and the Mosier, I could look at, I believe they attended a hearing, so there might be Zoom notes on it as well. So I can look a little deeper into that. And any properties that any of you want me to look deeper into and check utilities on to get a more robust list if we're missing anything. Like I said, there's a fair amount less on that list than in previous lists that I've seen. So I can do that as well.
Well, that'll work to some degree, but many of these buildings, the utilities will still be on. They have to heat it, whether it's electric or gas.
Right. Yeah.
So that's still going to show up. They're still going to be getting a bill, and you know, particularly this winter, probably a pretty substantial one.
Right. Yeah. One thing too is I could also run by the problem property group that we our property preservation group. The what we're saying here, and is there any other ways to determine vacancy and see if they, you know, others have ways or have them review the list as well. But like I said, that's the way I would find it. If somebody reports a vacant building, we call the electric company or we call the water department and we check their utilities. That's how we find it. But I can run it by the group as well.
All right, and I think one of your strongest things, and we talked about this offline today, is involving some members of the city council. The ward councilors know what's going on in their ward. I've been very involved in the industrial, the commercial end of it also. But right now on the problem property, I think they have a new name now, but it's kind of an exclusive group, let's put it that way.
So one thing is I don't run the group, but I can run that. I will. I can also CC you on that mail to that group. You know, saying what your idea is of having a counselor. Maybe it doesn't have to be every meeting. Maybe once a quarter or something like that. Inviting some of the counselors to discuss it. That could be something that could be done, or once a month. But I don't run it, so I can put that idea by it. I believe it was run by Aaron Vega. That's switching. I believe it's going to building department at this point, but that's in the process of changing a little bit. So I can reach out to Eric and Leslie on that, and I can CC you on that email.
Yes.
I see Councilor Panage's hand up, please.
Yes. And thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say that I would be interested in this procedure too, and if they are willing to have a city councilor sit in either regularly or from time to time, I would be very happy to join the group. It's information that I think should be widely shared if possible. And obviously, Councillor Sullivan as our representative is also good.
Well, there's 2 volunteers, Tim.
All right. Yeah, I'm writing my notes. What I need to my follow ups.
So I have just a quick question.
Yep.
It's a pretty simple one. So the C quick, because I'm a ward counselor in Ward 4, C click quit fix.
Yep.
Would that help with that? Could you do that for a vacant building that you know, or a vacant house?
Oh, anybody can put anything on there. The only thing I suggest not using that for is housing violations. If someone's a tenant because that's a little more personable, but anything and it will get forwarded to the right person. So a vacant property, absolutely, yes. Somebody could, it would usually the mayor would probably just give it to us, and then we would check the utilities and, and then send a registry letter, put it on the registry, and then it would follow that process.
And I got to give a kudos to Councillor Sullivan because of the raising of the vacant billing from 3,000 to 6,000. I talked to a major property owner and a management, and he was not happy about it going from 3,000 to 6,000. He said before he would just write out a check for 3,000 and say,
right,
do it. And he said, now it's a $6,000 check and I can't say that so fast. So that's a good kudos to Councillor Sullivan for coming up with that idea. And right after I missed that meeting that I had with him complaining about it, I went right by his building that was vacant with all shuttered up. So I was like, here's a building as an example right next to where we just talked about.
Right.
Get it fixed. And he has a lot of properties, but I consider him a good manager. Mike, I see your hand.
Yeah, thank you for that, and good points. The other thing too is these funds. I'm not sure when we collect them if they're going into the. We have a revolving fund also. If they are going into this fund, Tim, is that where they go? Do you know?
They go to the vacant building revolving fund. There's a certain purposes and expenditures in that fund. Right now, we have a procurement out for a compliance contractor that, because like what I was saying earlier, how I wanted to move into routine maintenance. So some of the properties that are constantly not being maintained, if we had a procured contractor, we could just put them on a regular schedule. Like for instance, I don't want to call out any addresses, but right near Capri Pizza, you have a building that constantly has illegal dumping. It constantly has overgrown grass and graffiti. If you could put them on a routine maintenance schedule, so we're not wasting on the payroll to go send them a notice, wait, we know they're not going to do it. They'll just be, deemed like abandoned parcel, and then we'll have routine maintenance. So we have a contractor open for 50,000 on that, and then the building department has another, what do you call it when procurement, another one application out for emergency board ups. So we are like looking for different ways that money is spent, but routinely helping the city. But yes, it does go into that fund.
Yeah. So, and my point to everybody in the committee, the public, and everything is, by having these monies and these increased penalties for these properties, this money is going to a revolving fund that can be used to address blighted properties.
Yep.
Right? Taking the burden off of the taxpayers and off of our city budget, and
Yep.
transferring it to the people that are not doing what they should be doing. Putting the cost and the burden where it belongs.
I see no other hands. I'll entertain a motion to say that this agenda item has been complied with.
So
So
moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jeffrey, does this need a roll call? Thank you. Whoever
Thank
answered.
you, everybody.
Thank you, Tim. Have a good evening.
You too.
Be safe.
You too.
I'll entertain another motion. To move an agenda item off the agenda.
motion to take up item number 5.
Second.
Councilor Bissonnette seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Is attorney? It doesn't look like she's here. Would you be able to answer that question, Councilor Bissonnette?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I did not hear it.
So, item number 5 on the is ordered that the sale of the Holyoke Assessors Parcel 106 Pine Street, Holyoke, Mass, to Alan Snyder or his nominee for $5,800 authorized the City Council on September 7th, 2025, be amended to reflect that the city will receive $4,800 after payment of $1,000 to the buyer's broker. Attorney, I don't remember her name. She's an assistant.
Valesky,
Yes, that's
Jay Mantelesky
that's
handled
the
that.
name.
Yeah, and there's a broker's fee due, so that we had to reallocate where the proceed would actually go. So that's the reason for the amendment.
I see Counselor, I didn't know who went up first, Israel or Mike. Do you guys know?
Mike was up first.
Counselor Sullivan?
Probably the same question as Israel. Why would we pay the broker's fee on a sale like this?
That is my question as well. So I'll put my hand down.
I would not be able to answer that question specifically as to this property. Usually the broker's fee is the responsibility of the purchaser, the person that employed the broker. I would suggest in this situation, since there really is a public purpose behind the sale, that it wouldn't be the same as a arm's length kind of private transaction between buyer and seller. So that may be the reason why we're reallocating the proceeds, but certainly can verify that if you'd like. I can get a written explanation before the council meeting.
Well, myself, regardless of the explanation, I feel we're letting the property go for a small enough price to give up another $1,000. I'm not in favor of it.
If it's cool, I mean, through the chair, again, my bad.
Yeah. Yes.
I would entertain, I would try to motion, I'm going to make a motion to table the item until Attorney Manteleschi can come in or write a report or send something or communication to us. Because if we vote on it today, I'm probably going to be a no too as well. So my motion would be to table it, if that's cool with anybody else.
I would second that motion.
I don't see any other hands. I hear a motion and seconded to table the agenda item. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Sounds like we have the ayes.
Okay. Motion to take up item number 6.
Item number 6 is filed by Councilor Murphy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your second.
Second.
Item number 6 is Murphy Robiletti's order. Councilor Tessa Murphy Robiletti ordered that the City Council approve the resolution for the Certified Housing Development Incentive Program project, including a local tax increment exemption. Sorry.
Mr. Chair, that item was removed. I think you're looking at the previous draft before it was finalized.
So item 6 is not really item 6. It shouldn't even be on the agenda.
Item 6 is CDBG.
Yeah, I think you may be looking at the draft we
I'm sorry.
discussed before it was finalized.
I apologize, everybody. Item
No.
6 is no longer item 6. Now we're moving on to the real item number 6, which is the Community Development Block Grant. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to take up item 6.
Second.
I already heard a second. And that's what it was, the Community Development Block Grant Applications Proposal Block. And this is with Alyssa Zoller from the Community Development Director. She's the Community Development Director. Alicia, are you available?
I believe there's someone else.
I'm here, and our finance manager, Zaida Hoyt, is also here tonight.
Hi, Zaida.
There's 2 of us.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's your show, Alyssa.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. We are here tonight to solicit your recommendations for the FY 2026 Community Development Block Grant proposals. We had previously forwarded copies of all the proposals as well as what we call the allocation spreadsheet. Since a few of you are new to the process, I'm going to just briefly walk through sort of where we're at with the process. So on an annual basis, we submit a grant application to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for community development block grant funds, as well as home investment partnership funds. For the CDBG funds, we then, prior to submittal to HUD, we go out to the community and we solicit proposals. And so the spreadsheet that you've received is a listing of all the proposals that came into the office. They are grouped in 3 categories for your review. They're grouped first by, and in just a second, I'm going to have Zaida actually share her screen and we can walk through it a little bit more. But the first grouping is a set of proposals in the non-public service categories. Those include public infrastructure, public facilities, housing, and any sort of water, sewer, parks, that sort of thing. Economic development is also in that category. Demolition is in that category. Everything else falls into what we call public services. So that's the second grouping. And then the third grouping are administration and planning expenses. This year, we've not received our final allocation from HUD of how much money we'll get on July 1st, 2026. The allocation that we'll receive in July 2026 is the allocation that would have been settled in the federal budget last September. And those final numbers have not been distributed by HUD. So as we work through this process during the springtime before we submit to HUD, we use the prior year estimates or the prior year award as an estimate moving forward. And then if we get more money or less money, we adjust accordingly. And that's explained on the spreadsheet. So for this year, for non-public services, so those are those big projects, again, housing, economic development, public facilities, public parks, infrastructure, we are estimating $767,311. For public services, we're estimating $177,072. And for admin and planning, we're estimating $236,092. HUD has statutory limitations on how much the city can actually spend on public services and admin and planning. Those 2 categories are capped by HUD. We cannot exceed the percentage thresholds. For public services, and those are your activities like domestic violence prevention, food access, youth, job training, employment, all of those activities can be no more than 15% of our annual allocation. And for admin and planning, we can use no more than 20% of our annual allocation towards administration and planning expenses. The Office for Community Development does not receive any municipal funding. We are entirely funded for salaries, fringes, expenses from the grants or other funds that we receive and manage. Any questions so far? Okay. So Zaida, if you could share the spreadsheet, if the committee's okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. And I know a couple of you have already been through this process. So
Melissa, can I just?
go ahead, Chairman. Yes.
In prepping for this meeting, I went through 2024 and 2025 meetings and seeing how it was processed. Thank you.
Okay, great. Good. So this is this year's listing of all of the applications that we've received. We group them by categories so that you are reviewing sort of apples to apples. So all the housing projects are together, all the public facilities are together. We also do a preliminary review of eligibility. So anybody that appears on this spreadsheet, we presume to be eligible for HUD expenses based on what they proposed. And then we usually do some final tweaking once we know who's actually going to be funded. So you can see, as we see every year, the demand is much, much higher than the funds that we have available. So for instance, IDA has public services up at the moment. We have $177,072. We received $766,000 in requests. So the goal for tonight is for you to fill in the blue column, excuse me, with your recommendations. The way we have it set up is as you make recommendations to fill in for each one of the proposals, Zaida has a running tab for you. So you can see exactly how much you have left to allocate. So if you did $3 in that category, you would see that on the bottom, there's the balance on how much is left. Excuse me. So I will happy to answer any questions, but also turn it over to the committee to begin discussion.
I see Israel Rivera's hand up, please.
Yes, thank you. Just a quick question around, because I don't think, maybe it's done this in the past, but I don't remember. The mayor's proposals piece, that's always been like that? I always thought it was after the fact. So we've always got it before.
So the mayor makes the final allocations, but for the purposes of sort of working through the process, he does sort of preliminary recommendations, what he's thinking at the moment. But he takes into account all of the public comments that are going to come in, as well as the recommendations from OCD, the Citizens Advisory Committee, you all, and then the full council.
And then my other question is just the only two questions I had before. Because people don't come in and are able to present, so I'm not able to ask them the questions. For me, it's the difference between the One Holyoke CDC and the Revitalize CDC programs. One is like the NIP program and home rehab, then the Holyoke Home Preservation Roof Program. What are the differences in what they serve, like they offer? Is it one that does anything rehab your whole home, or is this one only a roof program?
So the difference is that the One Holyoke CDC Neighborhood Improvement Program will do rehab of any sort. There are, of course, limitations with HUD funds, but generally the NIP program has done things like age-in-place modifications, energy efficiency, roofs, porches are a real big one. We've done lead paint abatement with that program. We've done safety hazards, that sort of thing. We've helped homeowners who may have had code compliance issues. And then the Revitalize CDC is strictly roofs. Just roofs.
Okay, thank you for that. That helps out.
And I should add that in terms of the need for housing, we have a waiting list of approximately 75 homeowners who have called and requested some sort of financial assistance with their home rehab. And a very high percentage of them are facing cancellation of their homeowners insurance, primarily due to the condition of their roofs. Because we have gotten information that insurance companies are using drones to review the roofs, and then homeowners get a cancellation. So we know that the demand is there for all kinds of rehab, particularly for roofs.
But in Holyoke, they got to get a permit to use that drone. We made that ordinance.
So that might be worthwhile to reach out for whoever's enforcing it to reach out to insurance companies, because that's what we've heard is the drone coverage.
I see Councilor Sullivan's hand up.
Yeah. So unless one I feel very strongly against is the Spring Street Public Plaza. And the reason for that is in the past, we've allocated funds, in particular in recent history, for Valley Arena and for the Pocket Park directly across from City Hall. And we cannot maintain properly the existing parks we have. Adding these ones also put an incredible burden on it. And just recently, we've seen what has happened to Valley Arena Park. We don't have the resources to maintain what we have already. And now to add another public plaza or another public park when we can't adequately take care of what we already have in the inventory, I just think is a total waste of money. Having said that, the proposal I would like the committee to consider, unless we have a large discussion, is to accept the recommendations of our Citizens Advisory Committee. They spent a lot of time on this. They went over and reviewed every one of the projects. It was a very good group. I attended their final meeting when they made the decisions. There was robust conversation on all of them. And I guess that would be my initial proposal, would be that we mirror the CAC proposals across the board.
Any questions? Anybody else? Is that a motion, Mike?
That was a motion, but I didn't get a second, so I guess everybody wants to discuss them one by one, so here we go.
Anybody want to change to anything?
So I guess through the chair, I'll go first, and because and Mike, I only didn't second it because there are probably one or two projects that I might not be fully in line with, and for me to fully just say, yeah, I agree with 110% every single project would not be honest on my end. But I guess the first one I could say is the ramp repair project, fully fund that at the Wisteria Hearst Museum. I'll entertain a motion for that one. That's $10,600 to make sure that the ramp at the Wisteria Hearst Museum and the automatic door get repaired. Is that correct, Alicia?
I would second that.
That's an easy one, so that's why I made that motion.
Any other questions about it? I have a motion and it's seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's the 10,600. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you for putting it there. Thank you for filling in the space. Any other items that you'd like to change, alter?
If I may, Chairman, if Zaitis scrolls up just a little, okay, you'll see there in the blue box at the bottom of the column how much you have left to allocate, just to make your jobs easier.
Okay, so I would make a motion to approve $235,856 for the One Holyoke CDC NIP program.
Second.
Second.
I have 2 seconds. I have any motions, any discussion? All those in favor?
Just so we're off by $1. There we go.
Aye.
Next
Aye.
one.
Hearing none others, I would make a motion to approve $235,855 for the revitalized CDC roof program.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Alicia. Next item,
I'll entertain a motion to 100,000 for the facade building improvement. It's that item 10 where it says 10 and 11 facade improvement program. And that, if I'm correct, that's for the building, right? City Hall?
No.
Oh.
If I may, the facade improvement program is an economic development activity where we offer grants to.
So I amend the motion to 50,000. I'll match the CAC.
there's a second.
Oh,
Councilor
no,
Sullivan, you have your hand.
no second. Go ahead.
A question for Alicia through the chair.
Go ahead, please.
Alicia, isn't this one of the programs where there was no applicants last year?
So we have had, I'm not going to say no applicants. I'm going to say few successful applications for a whole host of reasons. We're hoping, and I should say that those reasons include things like property owners with open code enforcement issues, property owners or businesses who are not current on taxes. However, we are hoping that with the investment that we're seeing along High Street, Main Street, Maple Street, new property owners, new programs, new investment, that we will be able to get this program launched. The grants that we provide are generally up to $25,000. And so we're not looking for a large pool of applicants, 100,000 or 50,000, however it shakes out. We only need a couple of successful applications.
Yes,
So I think times are a little different. Here's hoping.
I would second Councilor Rivera's motion.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 I would make a motion for $200,000 for the Holyoke Building Department for demolition of to be determined properties.
Second.
I have a motion and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Looks like the ayes have it again. How far are we off from the CACs? Sounds like we're getting. Are we over our limit yet, Alicia? The next item on the list,
Nope.
please.
Looks like Zaitis got you at having 35,000 left.
That was my question. Thank you.
Yeah, I think what we've skipped over is the Greater Holyoke YMCA stuff.
Yeah. So I would make a motion to approve the Greater Holyoke YMCA energy improvements for $35,000.
I didn't hear a second. Do I have a counter offer?
Can I do 15,000 instead for the YMCA and 10 for Girls Inc? Can we move it up to the top real quick?
No.
Oh, Girls Inc is not in this category. My bad.
It's not in this grouping.
Okay, so can you go down? There's another program. Is it the YWCA one? Yep. Oh, YWCA is not in this grouping either, right?
Well, only the ones we see right on this page.
Yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, no, 35 is fine. I just wanted to share the wealth, but 35 is fine. Then with YMCA, I second that. My bad.
I have a motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any other money to spend tonight?
We should have a whole new section.
Let's go.
Yeah, but hold- These are the public services. You only have $177,072 in this section.
What's the will?
Well, I would, oops, where did we go here? I would make a motion to approve $40,000 for Access Care Partners for meal delivery for older adults.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion
Aye.
passed. Aye, too.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve $50,000 for Providence Ministries for the Needy for Margaret's Pantry, Food Pantry.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded for 50,000 for Margaret's Food Pantry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
would make a motion, it's again, Providence Ministries for the Needy, Kate's Kitchen Evening Meals Program, $25,000.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion made
Can I have a
and seconded.
question?
I'm sorry. I didn't see a hand.
Yes, to Alicia, if possible. Just forget it. I see it. I was gonna say the difference, but then it's food pantry evening meal. There is a difference. They do a breakfast too as well, right? Currently, or no? No. Okay. Thank you.
So I had a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
I
Next
would,
item.
I would make a motion that the remaining $62,072 be allocated for the Holyoke Council on Aging Senior Meal Program.
I'll second that.
I'll second that.
If I may, through the chair, under discussion.
Yes, please.
Only reason why I didn't second it because for me, it's not fair to a lot of other organizations that are doing great work that a lot of the money gets eaten up by only 2 or 3 entities. And for me, it would make sense to try to split some of it up as much as we can. Girls Inc. is doing a lot of great work. Holyoke Safe Neighborhood Initiative is doing a lot of great work. The YWCA is doing great work, and so is Families First. And it's not fair that all these other entities have been receiving significant amount of money for probably more than the last 5 or 6 years consecutively. So for me, it's like trying to find different ways. It would have been trying to find different ways to break it up so that everyone gets a piece of the pie eventually, or at least gets to taste it. So to me, that's why I didn't second it initially. It's not that I'm against the elderly meals or whatnot. It's just that some of the money could be broken up somehow. But again, that's not my final decision. But thank you.
Councilor Sullivan?
Yeah, Councilor Rivera raises an interesting point. The reason the CAC voted the way it did was everybody wanted to focus all our resources on anything food related, was number one. Number two is in the past, a lot of the programs, they are funded by a lot more than just the CDBG program. They have multiple sources of revenue. I won't call out any of them in particular, but some of their sponsors are very, very, very well funded and very capable of continuing these programs, even though CDBG might not put something to it. Also, dividing up our resources that way for some of these wouldn't allow the program to go forward anyways.
Councilor Panich?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think Counselor Sullivan makes a good point here. For me, part of the issue is that I'm still learning and I don't have the information that he has about which of these organizations, besides, well, I'm not calling anyone out here. I don't know which of these organizations might well have enough funding without these funds. And it does make sense to put the remainder into a senior meal program if there's nothing else here that really, really needs this money. And I just don't have the background to know what might. So I'm kind of relying on you all to give me at least smoke signals here.
Councilor Rivera?
Yeah, both made good points, Councilor Sullivan and Councilor Panich. I think, though, the perspective on my end, and I have to be honest, just about to finish my master's degree in nonprofit management and public administration. If your nonprofit or your organization is really relying on CDBG funding to run services, that should be a red flag for your nonprofit too as well. Because if you cannot come forward with your own funding and be able to run these programmings without CDBG funding, come July 1, if it, for some odd reason it gets zeroed out, then that's a problem, right? I think organizations should not be penalized for being able to match funding, if for lack of better terms, if you get what I'm saying. But I agree with being able to fund the senior meal program. I agree with all of that. It's just, again, it's only a couple entities that are eating up a huge chunk of what's available for public service. But thank you.
No, thank you.
Councilor Sullivan?
Yes, and to the new counselors who are new to this, Alicia Zoller sits there very quiet and doesn't throw in her 2 cents unless asked the question directly. So if there's anything about any of these programs, you have any questions, fire away at Alicia at any time. Right, Alicia?
Absolutely. I'm happy to answer any questions. We do try to be as diplomatic as possible, but I'm happy to answer anything in particular. I do want to highlight that because it's going to be coming before you in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a reprogram. I do want to highlight the FY 2025 HUD requirements. We received, and we've been working with Attorney Bissonette in the law department on this. So when we received our grant agreements for 2025, so these are the funds that would have arrived in the city last July. They didn't arrive until around November. They arrived with a set of conditions that were unprecedented in the CDBG program. Every administration, we see new conditions, new requirements. These particular conditions and requirements have been quite challenging. And so you're going to be asked in a couple of weeks to review what we call a reprogramming. You're going to see a spreadsheet that looks like this, but we're going to be reconfiguring some funds. And one of the areas that we are reconfiguring funds is away from public services and back over to public facilities, because some of our public service providers are unable or unwilling to meet the new requirements because they are just so onerous. And I think part of what you're seeing on the spreadsheet for recommendations is not necessarily a reflection of the actual proposals, but a reflection of knowing which projects are absolutely going to be able to move forward in the current regulatory climate. And so the standards for food provision, public services, are a little different than the standards for any sort of youth activities, parenting activities, that sort of thing. And so I also think that the recommendations that you're seeing reflect activities that we know that can move forward without a tremendous regulatory burden on either the agency or the city. So, and like I said, you're going to see it again in a couple of weeks when we come in and ask you to work on a reprogramming or ask you for your thoughts on a reprogramming.
Thank you. Counselor Bennett, you had your hand up, but you took it down. So
Yeah.
that
Well,
answers the
it's
question.
back up because with that explanation through the chair, I
Yes.
would like to ask whether that explanation is relevant to, there are a few things here where OCD did not recommend funding, and there's one here that we haven't touched that OCD did make a recommendation for. And if that's part of what went into these recommendations, I'm inclined to take them seriously and say, for instance, perhaps we should match the OCD recommendation for the back to school event.
Would you like some comments on that, Counselor?
I would love it. Thank you.
Okay. So, and this is going to get very, how I describe it, sort of weedy. The back to school event, let me take 2 steps back. Anyone that we serve in our CDBG program through our public services, we are required to collect demographic data on. So we are required to get our beneficiaries to complete a form that provides us with all sorts of information. So if someone goes to a food pantry and gets a food share, they have to fill out a form. We collect that demographic data and we report it to HUD. In some circumstances, there are activities where a family or a child or even an individual is going to show up and get that benefit. And we don't collect the data because they wouldn't show up otherwise.
Yeah.
And so a family who is of higher income is highly unlikely to show up at the Holyoke Safe Neighborhood back to school event and collect a backpack for their child. And so we don't collect individual household statistics for children who attend Holyoke Safe Neighborhood. Highly unlikely that families from the suburbs are going to come to Holyoke and take advantage of that service. And so when we report that data to HUD, we report that as all of the children that were served. Typically, it's about 3,000. And we report the statistics on household income based on the neighborhoods. And it's a qualifier that we call low moderate income neighborhoods, or LMA. I know that's really weedy, but I think where you all are pretty new in this, it's probably helpful. And so we in the office felt comfortable recommending funding for that activity because we know that we can very easily meet the regulatory documentation thresholds for the beneficiaries there. Food, like I said, food is, if 2026 looks like 2025, we think that food will be exempt from some of the onerous administrative burdens, but those other activities are not. I also would highlight the fact that, and I know that it's getting late, I recognize that it's been a long meeting. I would highlight the fact that, and for the counselors who have done this in the past, we have way fewer public service applications this year than we normally do. And I think that reflects the fact that agencies are recognizing some of the changes and they're not interested this year in trying to meet those requirements.
Oh, thank you. That was not too weedy. That is extremely helpful. And I am going to move that we recommend or allocate that 2,072 for the back to school event.
Were we still on the elderly meals?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still on the elderly meals. We didn't.
So if we do that, it takes some of the funds out of the elderly meals, I guess.
So,
But it only takes the 2072, and it seems like a real benefit.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Counselor.
Yeah. Alicia, the back to school event is requesting $6,100. How or where would they come up with the other $4,000?
So they do quite a bit of outreach, seeking other funds, other donations, that sort of thing. We are not the sole funder for this activity by any means.
Is the sheriff's department one of the major funders for this event?
So the sheriff's department is the coordinator of the event. But the funding sources come from in-kind donations, businesses donate, that sort of thing.
Okay, and what is the total, is $6,100 the total cost of the event?
I don't believe it is. We can flip over and look at their budget that they submitted with the application. Would you like to do that?
If it doesn't take too long.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna just scroll up in my, let's see if I can do this.
Chair, can I add a quick 2 cents while she does that?
Sure.
If I may, just directly to Councilor Panich, they raise a significant amount of funds, as Alicia had mentioned, throughout the community. There are various other grants that they apply for throughout the community. The 6,000 or the 2,000 would be a significant help to them. I assume they need it, but if they didn't have it, I don't think it would stop the event from happening, if that's the question, right? I would also note that they received funding several other times before, and I'm fully inclined to support it. I'm with it 110%, but I could also see why it gets left off sometimes, just in my perspective of trying to share the wealth throughout the different other programs throughout the city. But they should be sponsored too as well. But that's just sharing a quick background of my experience working in collaboration with them and seeing what they've been doing over the last 10 to 12 years, I'd say.
Thank you, Izzy.
So, oh, I'm sorry, Chairman.
You go, Alicia.
Okay, so I'm looking at their budget page, and they have 5,000 for equipment, 4,957, almost 5,000 for equipment rental, 12,600 for supplies, and $5,550 for contract services, with a total event cost of $28,141.
Thank you.
The will of the body. Counselor Panich, do you want your?
Yeah, just final comment, I think. I am happy either way. I just assumed looking at this that OCD's recommendation was based on, something. And it isn't, I mean, it would still leave us with 60,000 for the senior meal program. But whichever is the will of the committee, I'm comfortable with.
Alicia, I see your hand up now.
If I may add further explanation on why we funded that activity. So when we submit our proposal to HUD, we have to describe how we are serving various populations within the city with our funds. And so by adding a small amount of money to this activity, we are able to check the box, so to speak, that we are serving youth. So that's one of the other reasons that OCD recommended it, is being able to say to HUD that, we're going to support our youth this year.
Thank you. Any other questions? So we had a motion quite a while ago to have the money allocated to the senior meal, and Councilor Panich asked for 2,000 of it to go to the children's event.
So I would, hearing Alicia's explanation of the box that needs to be checked, I would amend my motion from 62,000 for senior meal program to 60,000 even.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
And motion that the remaining $2,072 goes to the Holyoke Safe Neighborhood Back to School event.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Let's keep going. Next on the list.
Next on the list is the category administration and planning. Again, we can only allocate up to 20% of the grant. And so we're proposing at this point to allocate that. Typically, we don't expend it all, but every year is different. And so that was the request from the department.
Okay. Motion, motion to approve the $236,092.
Before you do that, Izzy had his hand up.
Yeah, I was just, again, can you explain that again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch. I was confused. It's like as his listening is coming in one ear and like bouncing out the other. I'm sorry.
Are you asking me, Counselor?
You, Counselor Alicia. I'm sorry. Okay. My daughter right here, and I'm telling her to be quiet. Like, come on.
That's okay. It must be almost bedtime. Jeez.
She's a live wire.
So we, in this category, HUD allows the city to use up to 20% of the grant or allocate up to 20% of the grant to administration and planning expenses. And so the 236.92 represents 20% of the anticipated grant for the upcoming year. And then, of course, that will be, depending on whether the final grant rises or falls, it'll be adjusted accordingly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Councilor Sullivan, you had no other hands. Councilor Sullivan had a motion.
And I am seconding it.
Can I hear your motion again, Councilor Sullivan, for the record?
That we approve $236,092 for OCD for administration and planning of CDBG.
And I heard a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. What does a barber say? Next.
So that's the end of the recommendations that we need from you as a committee. Thank you. I remember the days, and Councilor Sullivan probably remembers the days when we used to do this with a notebook and a pencil and a calculator at the desk, and it took a whole lot longer. So shout out to Zaida for getting this all organized and following us along. I also just want to flag that we'll be coming in to see you on March 23rd to do the same thing, but for the opioid funds. So now that you've got some practice and you've got a good flow, we'll be getting you the spreadsheet with each one of the groups who have made recommendations. I also will be submitting a reprogramming request, as I said. I don't need formal votes on it. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out. And then finally, I do need a vote from you all to pass along the resolution that we submitted to the City Council that says that you do accept the CDBG and home grants from HUD for this year with the baseline of 2025 money, but understanding that that may be, like, I think last year it got adjusted by like $1.25 with some very small amount. So just a vote to recommend approval of the resolution.
Jeffrey, do I have to read the resolution into the record?
I believe your motion just needs to be that you're approving the home funds resolution.
So moved.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the use of the home funds.
The resolution. And I heard a second.
Resolution, I'm sorry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Jeff, does this, or Alicia, does this call a roll call vote?
I don't think you usually do a roll call for it.
You're remote, so you probably should in this case.
Okay.
So I'll make I'll make a recommendation that we do a roll call vote.
So moved.
Counselor Sullivan,
Yes.
Counselor Panich,
Yes.
Counselor Masonette,
Yes.
Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Counselor Purcell, yes. So pass, so be it. And so it shall be. So moved. Thank you, Alicia.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you at the next meeting.
We'll see you shortly.
Bye. And Zaida. Sorry, Zaida. There's no other agenda items. We have a lot of stuff on the table. Is there any other? I'll entertain a motion.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for putting up with me on my first meeting.
Excellent job.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Attorney Bissonette.
Hey, everybody.
Everybody have a wonderful evening and be safe.